This is Solo Musician Startup, a rebrand of JP Talks Music. It's a look into the mindset of bootstrapping a music project totally solo, and an exercise at self-expression in a world where the common default is a blur of anonymity. This podcast can be your companion on a similar journey, or a reminder that big things are possible with patience and strategy. Enjoy.
I wish to come here and say that I am a man who does not exist for others.
I haven't really thought that hard about taking the music I'm making and playing it in a live performance. That might sound kind of crazy to a lot of people. I think a lot of people hear that someone makes music and it's an automatic assumption that they're trying to play that music for a crowd in a live setting. I know I used to make that automatic assumption, and I think that is just kind of a built-in way of understanding what that term means when someone says they're a musician. But it's never really been something that I put a lot of emphasis into when thinking of this project that I'm doing. I'm thinking of it a lot more in terms of just the music that I get online, like the final recorded track, and promoting that track and sharing that with as many people as I can. That's really what I think of when I think of me doing music and being a musician, is that activity. I realized through the process of being in bands and when I was younger, feeling both the extra layer of time dedication and problem solving that it adds to add other people into the direct creation of the music making process and the performance process. The decision making is not in your hands anymore in terms of what the musical act does. I think it just kind of ends up being some degree of a more democratic process, determining both when you're playing shows, how frequently you're playing shows, the times that you can practice, the times that you can play. You have all those additional layers to consider on top of the music that you're creating, which I think for most musicians is not a problem. It's not to say that I just in a vacuum would dislike doing that. I would actually really love to. But I'm trying to take a more realistic perspective of what extra commitments and requirements that would set me up for. That would mean that I would be spending more time scheduling things, spending more time wondering how my decisions, both in the music and in the logistical aspect of music making and performance, I would have to start thinking about how that would be affecting other people involved more than just when I could make time to do it. I might get in situations where I would have to sacrifice my preferences in order to meet the band who outnumber me with their preference. This is all very small stuff, I get that. But I do think it's something you need to be more aware of as you get older. Then you need to be very careful about getting involved in those things. Just yesterday, I went to a tattoo parlor because I'm having some tattoo work done, and as can often be the case, there's people who are big music fans who work in tattoo shops. And I was talking to the guy who was helping me with my work. We were chatting. He was a big musician in the local community, it sounds like, from how he tells it. Well connected with a lot of the venues, a lot of the bigger bands, has a semi-friendly or acquaintance relationship with some of the more notable bands in our local scene here in Minneapolis. And I had given him my card when I had been in there previously with my QR code to my link to my music. And it's when I was in there yesterday, he seemed to enjoy it. I felt like he was kind of communicating with me on a different level, treating me with beyond just respect as his customer and just, a normal, decent human. I feel like he was giving me a level of respect for my musicianship and my songwriting. And he asked if I'd ever thought about playing my music live. And there was a heavy implication that he would either help me directly by helping me perform himself, or would be more than willing to help me find other people to make that happen, which is very kind. The willingness to help was something I wasn't expecting, and something that I'm very appreciative, and I think is a very good sign of the music community here in Minneapolis. But I'm trying to do something different with my music. I can't decide if I just don't have a lot of energy to handle interpersonal dynamics, or if I'm just not good at them. This is, my project. I'm the one who's bootstrapping this. I want it to go how I want it to go. That's just what it comes down to. And I'm very hesitant to take on the idea that it automatically becomes better if I include more people in that and make their character flaws mesh with my character flaws. And because it also includes more potential for it to turn into something where it doesn't feel like my own project anymore. It feels like something that is not by my design, and I'm doing this because I want to design it. So when it stops being something that's a reflection of my own personal desires, then it doesn't motivate me as much. My intent through doing this stuff is not necessarily to form friendships with other musicians. My intent to do this is to create music, and I think the interesting part of doing artistic stuff is to have it be a pure expression. And some people can do that in a more group setting more easily than others. And I feel like at this time in my life, my presentation of a pure artistic experience is for me to do it alone, really. I feel self-conscious even admitting that because it feels like a selfish thing. But it is also hard to not jump at those opportunities because I felt pretty validated in my work through these respectable musicians in the community. Through them reaching out to me, it feels like they're validating the work that I'm making because they, are interested in being involved, which is a sign that they like it, And it's hard not to, just out of being flattered, jump at that. As someone who likes making art and likes sharing it, it's hard when someone shows interest in your work or gets excited about your work and starts propositioning commitments for you to get involved in around expanding your work. You feel like it's connecting because that's all you really want in your art, is for it to connect. So when someone gives you that, it can be very tempting to get caught up in the moment and overcommitting yourself, starting to position yourself where you don't want to be because you have made trade-offs. I feel like I'm solving the problem of having people hear and connect with my music. But through solving that problem, if I'm not careful, there can be a shadow side involved with that, where through getting that connection that I've been seeking through the work, that I unwittingly start diluting my intention with it.
That's all for this one. I'll catch you again when there's something else worth saying. Please follow Solo Musician Startup on Spotify podcasts and rate it 5 stars. To stay up to date with my journey, as well as follow future music and podcast releases, follow me on Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube at JP Winters Music. My second single, Our Own Pace, releases summer of 2026 on all platforms. And I'll end with a reminder: be brave enough to look like an idiot going after the things you love. Until next time.